Welcome back to another episode of the Federal Church Presents Better Than Bloomberg. Covering the 2023 global financial system collapse. And it is collapsing pretty fucking hard. You're gonna have to excuse me here because the money changers are still telling people to drug me. So. Don't forget, I do this stuff better in my sleep than these fucks do when I'm awake. Reference the repo stuff back in 2018. Now, this one is another note from Zero Hedge. Watch Christine Lagarde explain why she hiked 50 basis points as Credit Suisse fights for its life. You kind of mentioned that in the last video, wherein okay, here's the problem. You have the entire fucking Eurozone. Basically, that's going to be in trouble. Because, no doubt, many of them did the dipshit trade by fucking convention. So, you have US dollar denominated toiletries. And if she doesn't hike 50 basis points, she weakens the euro against the dollar. Where they have their toiletries. It's making their situation a little bit worse. But the problem isn't just Credit Suisse. Credit Suisse will be one domino to fall. Especially with all the pigs banks that were already teetering. Because they already were being bailed out and bailed in, having their haircuts. So, no interest rate cuts from the ECB will be saving them. And here is a live feed of Christine Lagarde, and that is just a slight little preview too of how fucked the third worlders are, because they're going to be in a much worse position than the Eurozone. And just like I was saying in the last video, I have no idea who would keep their money in those banks. But they've probably solved that problem because already nobody keeps those money in those banks. But whatever's left of it, they're done. So here is a live feed of Christine Lagarde, who now faces the unenvious task of explaining why she hiked 50 basis points at a time when Credit Suisse is on the verge of collapse, and every incremental rate hike by the ECB makes keeping deposits at the bank that much more difficult. And again, it was also probably because they keep in touch with the Fed, and the Fed's probably going to raise rates, maybe not by 50 basis points, maybe by 25. But, again, the point being, the dipshit trade is still going to be pretty fucking horrific on the banking sector. And again, this isn't fucking Lehman or whatever else from 2000, Bear, Salomon Brothers, from 2008. Because had they sat on all of the underlying in 2008, had they kept all those real estate properties, they'd probably be fucking, completely better off. Now, if you take these fucking treasuries 15 years from now, or 20 years, 30 years, you're going to be completely fucked. Guaranteed. So this is not 2008. This is a hell of a lot fucking worse. And again, it was done by convention. Because the dipshits don't bother thinking. It's not unlike the little farce too, by the way. Why do you do what you do? Duh, I don't know. It's just the world we live in. And then, they end up in poverty. Well, it's the same fucking, situation here. I read through this. She says a bunch of shit, but, it's probably what I just said as to why she did that. With Bloomberg publishing an unexpected SIA trial balloon just 30 minutes before the ECB announcement, according to which ECB Vice President Luis de Guindos told finance ministers on Tuesday that some European banks vulnerable to rising interest rates, which sent expectations of a 50 basis point rate hike as 35 to 60% earlier. it would have provided the central bank with the needed cover to hike these things. However, it's not meant to happen. Moments ago, the ECB hiked 50 basis points to guide the last time in the process, ensuring that Europe's banking crisis would be. And this is something probably the SEO Hedge to put up, wherein, I don't have the exact numbers of how much money the ECB printed, especially over the last 4 years. But, I'm going to assume it's a significant amount that, makes this necessary. However, it was not meant to saying that inflation is, and especially relative to the amount of fucking treasury fucking printed. I don't know if he can put that up later. Saying that inflation is projected to remain too high for too long, the Governing Council today decided to increase the three key ECB interest rates by 50 basis points, in line with its determination to ensure the timely return of inflation to the 2% median target. The ECB cited that the elevated level of uncertainty reinforces the importance of a data-dependent approach in the Governing Council's policy rate decisions. Well, I think the only data is how many dipshits fuck this trade up, and how bad it'll be if they weaken the euro against the dollar, in the dollar-denominated fucking, U.S. toiletries. And, of course, the cost of hedging that shit, too, which, who knows how much dipshits these folks will. But, which will be determined by its assessment of the inflation outlook in light of the incoming economic and financial data, the dynamics of underlying inflation, strength of knowledge. They're only transmitting inflation. That's all you need to know. That said, the ECB was quick to note that the Governing Council is monitoring current market tensions closely and stands ready to respond as necessary to preserve price stability, financial stability in the euro area. It also said that the euro area banking sector is resilient, strong capital and liquidity positions, and added that the ECB's policy toolkit is fully equipped to provide liquidity support to the euro area financial system if needed to preserve the smooth transmission of monetary policy. Transmitting is fucking inflation. Looking ahead, the ECB shared the following forecasts. Inflation forecast. 2023, 5.3, 2024, 2.9. I'm going to call bullshit on this one. I would say that's damn near impossible. Because they're all, this goes to the geopolitical part aside from the money printing. Wherein the bread basket of the world has literally been turned into fucking goddamn shell craters. And don't forget that all their industry depends upon they're all economies actually, depends on cheap Russian energy, which they were dumb enough to have a proxy war against. No doubt under the duress of the United States. Which, like I said, should be changing soon. But those numbers will not be anywhere near those in 2024, 2025, or especially 2023. They're seeing way worse than that now. There are more dipshits. But it's kind of like the energy stuff in the fucking 70s too. When you had the stagflation stuff, except much worse. Because there still is the possibility of tanks rolling through their countries. Again, GDP growth projections have nothing but contraction over the next couple of years. Because of the idiotic fucking positioning their countries took, again, no doubt under the duress of the United States, against Russia and China, basically the economic engine of the world, because it sure as hell isn't the United States. The United States doesn't produce anything, they just monetize everything, and now that's over for them, which is the whole premise of the dipshit dipshits. So, GDP growth projections, and with that sort of inflation, those are bullshit. Those are on the opium. Of course, she's going to raise 50 basis points. GDP growth projections, big contraction, especially in real terms. It's going to be horrible in real terms. noted that new macroeconomic projections were finalized in early March before the recent emergence of financial market tensions. These market tensions imply additional uncertainty around the baseline assessments of inflation and growth. Prior to these latest developments, the baseline path for headline inflation had already been revised down. Again, hope this is bullshit. There will be nothing but contraction in real terms, and inflation will be much higher than they state. Go to the fucking grocery store. Mainly owing to a smaller contribution from energy prices than was expected. Again, don't forget the raw materials, finished good that comes from the economic engine of the world. But perhaps most importantly, the ECB refrained from providing any guidance and refrained from signaling any future rate hikes in this thing, something it had done previously. Well, again, why? They know damn well they need to raise rates, but they know damn well there's a lot of dipshit trades over there. That's why. As the dust settles, we have seen a dovish reaction with DGBs, government bonds looking for session highs, euro coming under pressure. I'm gonna guess that's money printing. With the dovish move perhaps a function of the lack of forward guidance, with the statement seemingly not presenting any bias for policy tiny, likely to provide policymakers with maximum flexibility in light of recent market uncertainty. Alternatively, the market is expecting more easing from the ECB. Now that the banking crisis is expected to get worse due to tightening financials, it's going to get worse because they're dipshits. Sure enough, the Stock 600 Banks Index, which again, I don't know why it isn't fucking limit down every fucking few hours, because dipshits. And they're not covered. You're only covering the depositors, if that, not in Europe. Bail-in City, by the way. Or Bail-inville, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Bail-ins and haircuts. They're not getting their deposits fucking covered. So, the fucking shareholders are hosed guaranteed. Depositors are hosed guaranteed. Equity holders guaranteed. That should go to fucking zero. I don't know what sort of fucking hopium they're on, but that should be in fucking zero. Extended a drop to 1% after the ECB decision, and the E-minis over there promptly dropped to session lows, and we're last trading below 3,900, which again should also tank. And here's the ECB release that Lagarde was reading off. Basically says a lot of shit, and we covered most of it. That might not be the most forthright. They're to add to the hopium over there. But again, they can't weaken the euro against the dipshit trade that's killing all its fucking banks. So it has to raise rates. And don't forget how much of fucking retards these fucks probably were too, where they didn't hedge the currency risk. Or even if they did, they're still a fucking counterparty to that fucking trade. So yeah, that was another good note from Zero Hedge. One that we had to cover. And one that we had to cover. But, yeah. Garden action. Yeah, don't forget to donate. You wouldn't be in this fucking situation if you donated years ago. Don't forget to tithe. 10% of gross annual income. Not gross adjusted income. You don't play that bullshit, you will go straight to hell. Donate. Donate in the link below. Bitcoin wallet below. Your donations are your salvation. It'll make sure you end up in the nicest rung, the nicest trench of the heavenly kingdom.